Hello and welcome to a Microsoft Excel assignment, which is a cross-curricular assignment with Math 9. We're going to show you how to use the formula y equals mx plus b, which is specifically made to characterize lines using both slope and y-intercept, and I'll explain that a little bit more, but very useful for both science and math class. So let's get started and let's talk about y is equal to mx plus b and look at a graph and all the different parts of the formula. So this being the y-axis, which is the vertical axis, the up and down, and the horizontal axis, which is the x, which determines the point. So this point right here, the 0 is what it would be. 1, 0. This would be 1, 1. This is 2, 2. So that's how you look at coordinates on an xy graph. Now, y is equal to mx plus b. What is m? M is the slope of the line, so how steep it is. You could have a line like that is steeper. You have a line like that is inclined or declined. This is an inclined line. So we determine slope by the amount it rises over it runs. You always want to look for 2 points that cross right at grid lines. So you notice that there's a point right here that meets right at the x and y grid line, and a point right here at 0, 0. So let's look at the rise. From this point to this point, we have a rise of 1, 2, and we have a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are both positive because they start here and they move up. So 1, 2, up, which makes it positive, and to the right, also on the x-axis, makes it positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my slope is actually going to be 2 over 5, or 2/5. So the 2 is the rise, and the run is 5. So 2/5 times x. Now, the y-intercept, b is the y-intercept. That means at what point does the equation's line cross the y-axis? Well, you can see here it crosses at 0 on this axis. Okay? If I took this and moved it down, the slope would be exactly the same, but the y-intercept would be 1, 2, 3, negative. So negative 3. So instead, if I left this here, the formula would be y is equal to 2/5 x minus 3. But we're going to put it back to where it was. So we can now use this equation to look at it and see if it works with the graph. So when x is 1, what is y? Well, if x is 1, we got to move over to the x-axis on the 1. We got to move up. So it's slightly less than 2/2. 2/5. So 2/5 times 1 is equal to 2/5. So the answer here would be 2/5. Then when the x-axis is 2, 2 times 2/5 should be 4/5. Let's look, does it look about right? On the y-axis, that would be, right here, across would be about 4/5. So that, again, is correct. 4/5. And if we then go here and go 3, well, 3 times 2/5 would be 6/5, which is 1 1/5. 1, 2, 3, there's 1 1/5, so that looks about right. So my answer here is going to be, you could either write 1 space and 1/5 or 6/5. Both answers would be correct. Now let's look at 4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4 out on there. It looks like it's about 1 3/5. So if it's 4 times 2/5, that's 8/5, which is the same as 1 3/5. And And then we go out to 5, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x-axis, and it meets at the 2. Let's see if our formula worked. 2/5 times 5, which would make 10/5, which is equal to 2. Now, this is going to all seem pretty complicated, but we're going to make this way easier using Microsoft Excel. We're actually going to do 24 lines like this, and you can do it in pretty short order using Microsoft Excel. So I've got a template which you're going to need to open by going to Common. First open Microsoft Excel, then you go File, Open, you go to the Common Drive, then Assignments, then Math 9, Chapter 6, and we're going to open up Equations and Lines template. So I'm going to go find that one, and here's the template. So we've got to do a ton of lines, but we're also going to graph them. And normally to do this by hand, even for myself, I think this would take hours to be able to draw all these graphs, and you can do this so much faster using this spreadsheet. Okay, so let's start off with the first one. Now, formulas in a spreadsheet start with an equal sign. Okay, so if y is equal to x, we want to know what the answer to y is right here. So if y is equal to x, I could look at it and go, it's -5. But we're going to do it in a special way so it always works. So we're going to start a formula with equal sign. Then we're just going to click on x. Now you'll notice it says A2 instead of x. Well, these are cell references, the column A and the row 2. I hit enter and it answers it. If you just type in -5, it's going to create way more work for you. This is the easy way to do it. People a lot of times want to just type in -5, but it's the wrong way, because now, watch this, I can fill this formula down. I grab this button and drag it down. This is called fill down. And now y is equal to x, then -4 and -4, and it's answered all along. Now let's look at our second formula. We always start a formula with an equal sign, but this one needs to be 2 times x. So we could say 2 times -5, the answer should be -10. But let's start with a 2, and then the times sign in a spreadsheet is the asterisk or shift 8. And then you click on x, and again, don't type in -5 or write x. You got to click on the x value right here, which is A2. Hit enter. Now I can fill the formula down. Equals. You always start a formula with equals. Now it's 3 times x, so we're going to go 3. The times sign again is asterisk. And you click on the x value, which is -5. Then I hit enter to fill it in. And then grab that black dot. So you notice, put it over the black dot, the white cross goes to a black cross, click and drag it down. There's a fill down. So now I've already done 3 formulas. And let's graph these. Now this would take you probably at least half an hour to do a great job of it. We can do it in a minute. I highlight from X, including the labels, all the way down to 15. I click on this chart wizard button. I choose XY scatter graph and choose this middle one. Then I go next and next. My chart title is going to be equations 1 to 3. These are my first 3 equations. Okay? And then I'm going to go next and finish. Then I go into here. I go right click on the white, chart options, choose grid lines, and you want to have major grid lines on both. and you say OK. Every line with a number in front, the slope is steeper. You'll notice that. So the bigger the number, the steeper the slope. So we can start to anticipate what these are going to look like. And you also, y is equal to mx plus b. Assume, what would m be in front of this first x? It would be 1x. Then this is 2x, and this is 3x. But what's b? There is no value, so then b is 0. Notice that all three lines go through 0. That's the y-intercept. So what are these three lines going to look like? That's a question. And before you do it, I want you to try and anticipate what you think it's going to look like. So let's do this next one. We're going to go equals. Okay, it's going to be x plus 5. And I'm going to hit enter. So it's 0. Click on it, drag it down. Equals. Click on the x value. Plus 10. Always finish your formula with enter. Fill it down. Equals. Click on your x value. Plus 15. Now, what is the slope or the m value of each of these? Because there's no coefficient or number in front of x, that means they're all 1. So I would expect, I'm going to tell you my educated guess, that each of these lines will have the exact same steepness, but they will not go through 0. They'll go through 5, 10, and 15. So they'll go through here, here, and here on the graph. Let's see what happens. Click on the chart, XY scatter, choose the middle one, go next, next, add your major grid line, go to your titles, equations, 4 to 6, next, and finish. And I'm correct with my evaluation. Exact same steepness because the slope is the same. Now this one, what do you think this is going to be? Minus x, that's the same as minus 1 times x. This would be minus 2 times x, and this would be minus 3 times x. There's no plus b on the end, so it must be 0. That one I would expect to go through 0. Same with this one and same with this one. But minus, what does that mean it's going to do to the slope? Try and anticipate that. Then this one all has the same slope, but it's minus 3 is the slope, which is the same as minus 3 over 1. But they have different b values. So what does that mean? This one is 1/3. So here you need to write 1 divided by 3 times the x value. 2 divided by 3 times the x value. What is divided on a computer? Divided is this / on a computer. Then here, similar things. And here, now these are supposed to, it's hard to write it as a superscript. So these are supposed to be squared. So this is really a weird one. So this is y is equal to x squared. Well, how do you do that? Let's look at that one. How do you do that on a computer? Let's go equals x, and you gotta find shift 6, which is, it looks like the roof of a house. That's how you tell it to be squared or cubed. Okay, so you're gonna go click on the x value, then that shift 6 and squared. That's 25. This one would be equals 2 times the x value, the roof squared, enter. And this one would be Start all formulas with an equal sign. 3 times, which is Shift 8 for the asterisks. Click on the X value. Do the roof squared. Enter. And then I can fill all those down. And then I can highlight from X right down. I can graph it. XY scatter graph. Next. And then you can see that's what it's going to look like. Try all of these. Okay. And you should have a finished version with all the graphs sitting off to the side here. We can format all of these by going to Format, Auto Format, and choose one that you like. I'm going to choose maybe that one. And there you have it. That's how you do formulas 1 to 24. Thanks for watching.